Hey, how are you guys? My name is Munish Kumar. Always there's a question people keep asking me like, hey, how much it will cost me to develop an application? How much you charge to develop an application? For iPhone and Android, obviously people need for. So this section like about the designing of an application contains wireframes, user experience, user interface, then jumps to developing the prototype to develop that the application is as according to you, that if you're looking for an application like a taxi booking or like Uber or like a laundry booking application or maybe like a dating app or maybe like a business app or social chat app, then how the flow of the application is coming to you and you will test as an end user. Or if you are as an investor, you can plan how much money you can make by keeping the feature reserved as subscription or paid app or ads based app. There are many ways. So in designing phase you can still decide how much money you can make depending upon the users you are going to get. Or if you are developing an e-commerce, you can start putting the random figure pricing. If you're fixed product or if you have a dynamic product, then you will be having the next admin panel to add the product. Guys, keep watching the video and definitely subscribe button. You need to subscribe it so that I can show you some more facts about this. So once the designs are done, right, then you need to develop the prototype using the programming. If you have an iPhone, you can get your Android or iPhone version done and you can test it by developing the prototype. And if you want to develop the Android, you can get your Android prototype version without the real data, because this is the prototype phase where you can verify the features that you are already designed and now get it developed. Right, guys? So when the designs are done and you have all the features that you want to develop, it is in the prototype, then you can decide. What you can decide is, like in the prototype you can add or remove features, or you can put more features in the next version. You can hold some features to keep the development on the speed and to cover the cost of development too. And once that is done, you can jump to develop the backend, where all the content of the application, like details of the user's profile, sections, push notifications, each and everything is well discussed and addressed into the database structure. So guys, if you really want to understand this section, this is really important. This is the backbone. This is why we call it as a backbone, because this is the very important section of the whole application. Without a great backend, your application cannot be successful for a long term, because the backend decides how much users your application can easily adjust and let them use it, let them keep using it. Okay, so this is a very important section. So if you have a great backend, strong technology for holding and let them keep or use, if like TikTok is a very fast video browsing application, that's the reason of people using it, because it's very fast. It hold and store the caches into the app account and keep people browsing the videos without any interference, without any slow or drag. That's the reason of its success. They design in that way. This is a very important section. The backend, if we use Solar technology or you use MongoDB, and I use like Amazon S3 bucket for storing the videos and little by little bit, like compressing algorithms like loosely compression or some other algorithm to let them keep using compressed video without losing the quality of the application, without like verification of the videos, right? This is some of the parameters that we decide. And the last thing is interaction of admin panel, where you can block certain profiles, send push notifications for some certain features, or you can maintain the history. So this is like backend is a very strong thing. There's another video I made on the backend which you can see on my channel, right? So you can keep browsing other things as well in my account. When you say about like admin panel is like a full control panel for users, activities, push notifications, money transactions, and you can add more providers in your application. Like if for example you have account team, you have a sales team, you have marketing team, you can give them the separate authenticity to utilize the features. Not all of the features can be used by one team. Like account team cannot see how many users are joining, they can see the payments. Database data entry team can see how much people are joining, so they can keep adding more and more. So this is a team dividation, right? So the pricing is totally depends upon the features and the and the number of functionality points in the application. And it also varies, the pricing also varies country to country. Like if you are going to get it developed from India, it will be little cheap because their dollar rate is different. From in India, like you can get it developed in like $10 per hour to $80 per hour, and if you go the same on Europe, you need to pay $100 per hour, and if you go to US, you need to pay $150 or $120 per hour. This is a rate. This is a the hourly effort required to develop an application rate. So in the next section, you will see how we calculate the price, what is the algorithm, what is the logic. Keep watching the video, it will be there soon. Guys, as we just started discussing about the cost of the application development, right? We are now going to discuss in very deep how much is it cost to like develop an application with the real figures, not like tentative figures. I do not want to discuss the things in tentative figure. I will give you the exact idea, because there is a designing, there is front-end development, back-end development, push notification, payment gateways, SMS gateway, and all sort of third-party possible gateways. Plus, the very important point is server. Normally, people do not include server in the development, but server is a really, really very crucial factor. So when we discuss about the cost of front development, we will talk about designing, backend, push notification, server cost, and how much a server exhaust cost. Like when you have billion of users, how much you have to pay. It's not like free. Service is like a building place. You have a building, you have a property. That's like a server is like a property space. You have a space, you can utilize it for billion or trillion users, depending upon your business plan and what is your like exact plan for that. So let me jump to the board and explain you how we calculate the cost. Like guys, just we discussed about some parameters of cost collection. Again, cost is calculated like per hour effort. How much an effort required per hour to develop something. So in application development, when we have designing, development, testing, quality assurance, and a small section of beta testing, load testing, server testing. So we have some factors. So we will calculate that in this. Like I'm going to set up a fixed like standard for you. Like this is a way to calculate it, right? And every company having their own parameters, but there is a standard that I learned from an experience from last 5 years, and I'm going to discuss this with you, right? Don't go on my writing because I'm using it after a decade, right? So when we say cost, so cost is like number of hours required into hourly cost. Is it visible, right? So like when we say the cost of whole app, this divided in number of hours. So this number of hours is like how much for designing, right? So how much like hours required for designing? Let's say we put an hours like 40 hours for designs. Average, like we have an application or like 20 screens. So to develop an application, we need designing, the very first thing, which contains wireframes, UI, UX, and required 40 hours. So I put H for hours and I put 20 screens. So guys, this is pretty much clear how much we need for designing. 40 hours, it means like 2 weeks approx for testing and communication and everything. So when designs are done, right, this is cycle. We required, development, I put development like front end, FE for front end, this is back end. When I put BD means back end development. So front end is front end coding, and back end is like setup of database, back end programming, integration of APIs, either SMS, OTP, payment gateway. There are lots of factors, right, that we need to discuss. And the third factor is like quality assurance. This means like we have load testing, T means testing, right? Beta testing, and third is like normally people go to unit testing. So this is the cost we normally divide, right? And the cost for average designing, development and testing always varies, right? But we put up a random like number of hours, is we are approx giving it like an estimation of number of hours required. So if we need like to develop an application we require 400 hours, then we multiply it with like, let's say $100 per hour. This is a cost, like every company having their own pricing rates, right? So let's say $100 per hour is the rate of an American company, right? But if you talk about India, let's say $25. This is the cost. It's like $40,000. And if we say like for India, like $10,000. So this is the way we calculate the cost. And guys, depending upon the parameters of a project, like features, functionality, if a company already have developed like a chat feature, calling feature, video calling feature, then they can reduce some of the hours. They can like compensate some hours because they already had developed it. And this is the benefit of selecting a good company that already had developed similar projects, and going to them would be an easier way for me. So if you have any question regarding the finding the cost of app development and the parameters, you can call me at any time, right? Thank you so much, guys. My number is like +91 99 88 88 0293. Thank you so much.